Okay, so where I left off in the last video, um, anyway, at the assessment, they asked me, do I have any thoughts of hurting someone else or myself? And I told the man, yeah, I have thoughts of hurting somebody else, my child's father. So he was like, if you say that, we have to admit you. Like, we have to keep you. So I was just like, I made a joke out of it or whatever. And so he said I would be a good candidate for the outpatient program, which was from 8 to 3. A group therapy from 8 to 3, and then you get to meet with like a not personal, but like a psychiatrist. You like meet with people, you have a lunch there, and you get to go home at the end of the day, but you still get your intensive like therapy. So I was like, you know what, I'll do it. I'll do it. As long as y'all don't keep me. I started that program maybe the next day. My boyfriend tried to say that he cried. Well, my husband tried to say that he cried when he found out that I was going to the mental hospital. You making whatever problems I got fucking worse. So why would you be crying? You don't fucking care. You're cheating on me. Why would you care? Anyway. So, then he was suddenly like wanting to work shit out. So, I don't know. I was in group therapy from 8 to 3, 6 days a week for a good month, 5 to 6 weeks. And then, you weren't just immediately released. Like, I had to go down. I went down a step. And then I got to, instead of waking up so early in the morning and being there till 3, I was able to do, it was, what time was it? 5 to 9. Then, yeah, I did the step down. And was then in group therapy from 5 to 9. But everybody was mostly in the morning class, so like the afternoon was just, at most the afternoon was like 4 or 5 people. Because this therapist, I think she also had autism, because she was pretty awkward, like beyond normal awkwardness. But anyway, so sometimes it would just be me and her, and doing the activities. So sometimes she would take the liberty to ask me like certain questions about something that I put on my daily sheet, like Like, I often said, yeah, I'm struggling with like sexual, lustful thoughts. And, like hypersexuality. And now looking back, it's like, well, fuck, I was pregnant. Like, but yeah. I graduated from both those programs. I got a little pin. I was proud of myself. Found my own psychiatrist. Started Zyprexa, which we'll see how this pregnancy goes. But I think being on Zyprexa during my second trimester is why I ever gained any weight to begin with, because I was not gaining weight until I went on Zyprexa, because it's I don't know what it did, but for the first time ever, I was able to like be calm and clear-minded enough to sit down and watch a movie. Like, I had not been able to sit down and do anything like watching a movie in years. Like, my attention span was just horrible. This crick in my neck that I woke up with had turned into fucking crick in my jaw. But yeah, I was a bit calmer, more introspective, apologizing more. And I was eating a lot. It was sad because he's cheating the whole time he's cheating. I'm going to therapy. I'm learning how to cook. I was cooking for my family, cooking for my parents, because I was learning how to cook, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be a mom now. Like, I have a little family now. I need to learn how to cook. I was cooking for him often. You know, getting jobs, moving up in the job ladder, making more money. And trying to improve myself to be the best mom and at the time partner that I could be. I was in a freaking parenting class, doing a ton of baby research, all this stuff. In therapy, in group, I would just expose myself. Like, yeah, I've hit my partner. Yeah, I scream at him, I cuss at him, I call him names. Like, ugh. But I'm here because I want to fix things, and I need him here for my daughter, and I want to make this relationship work. And it just makes me so mad now. Like, what was he doing for me during that time? What was he doing for us, our relationship? And what was he doing for our daughter? Nothing. So anyway, I'm on Zyprexa. Things are going good. I was on it for about 2 months. I started late July and I tapered off mid-October. My birthday comes. Of course, we don't spend my birthday together, just like every year. Nothing. We didn't do shit together on my birthday. Of course, 2 weeks after my birthday, though, he was on a date with that other girl. Then later in the week, we went on a date that, of course, I had to pay for. That's when we were sitting across the table with each other. It was obvious he didn't even want to be there. But I was like, what would you do if I cheated on you? I had nothing else to say. He was just there, staring at the freaking game on TV behind me in the restaurant. So eventually I was just like, what would you do if I cheated on you? And then he looked me in my face and he was like, I'll make you a single mom. So then that following week after my birthday is when my mom started declining suspiciously. So eventually, the following Saturday, I get that call from my dad when I'm at work, that mom is in the hospital. Again, she went in the ambulance. But like I just told you, in part 1, I specified, like, when my mom started declining again in June, it was just a situation where she walked, like she went to the hospital, like she was walking, talking, functional, all that stuff. So I'm thinking, okay, that's what's happening again. Like, she was having racing heart, or maybe she got like dizzy from her blood pressure or something. So I'm thinking, this is about me and my husband's relationship, but of course I'll go into this in another video. I should do live streams. I don't know. But, yeah, the way my dad was talking, it's like, wait, why weren't you at the hospital already? Why didn't you follow the ambulance? Why didn't you go with her in the ambulance? He called me from home. So he was like, anyway, I'm not getting into that right now. My dad, long story short, my dad, my mom's abuser for her entire life, was the only person who was there. Ooh, that hurt. Was the last person to see her before she died, right? Before she got in the state that she was in the ICU. Anyway, so my boyfriend wasn't there to support me through that. He didn't come to the hospital or anything. I'm sitting there in between when my brother finally got there. That's when the fucking arguing started. So him and my dad going back and forth. I'm checked out. At this point, I'm 5 months pregnant. Going on 6 months. I'm trying so hard to stay calm. I'm fighting to keep my emotions level at this point. I'm really fighting. I've just tapered off antipsychotics and I'm really fighting. So I was just basically silent the whole time. Just oh my God. I was just dissociating completely. So, he didn't call or nothing when he found out my mom passed away. We was just texting. He was totally checked out. I assume he had already gotten the other girl pregnant by now. So, nobody could tell me when the supposed miscarriage happened, what month it was. So, anyway. So, from that day on, my dad was anyway, like I've said 1,000 times, my husband, he didn't call me when my mom passed away. He just wasn't any support at all. He came over once while, like, we were going, my brother, his wife, girlfriend at the time, and then my dad, we was going through, like, photo albums. And, my husband came by before work and like we went back to my room, but he just sat there. He didn't say anything. Like he was just sitting there. I don't even know what we talked about that day. He was there for like 20 minutes maybe, and then he left. So, after that, my brother decided to put me to work making our mom's memorial. You know, I did not want to do that. I mean, putting her obituary. I didn't want to do that. It didn't make sense for me to do that. Because I basically knew nothing about my mom. Unfortunately. I didn't know anything about her life before she had me. I barely even got the chance to know my mom because she was so caught up in my dad's bullshit. He had her wrapped around his finger. I'm talking like to the point where before she got sick, maybe before she knew she was sick, before COVID too, she worked in office, and she would come home from work and she'd be like using the bathroom, doing her own thing, whatever. But as soon as my dad called, like, she would rush out the bathroom to answer his phone calls. Any identity she had, he destroyed. And it was to the point where after she passed away, my brother was telling stories about her, stories I've heard before, right? But he's telling these stories again now, and I'm just like, that doesn't sound like my mom. I don't know what mom you know, but that doesn't sound like my mom. Or even my aunt would just like, my mom's aunt, when I was speaking to her, she would just drop certain things about my mom, and I would feel like, y'all are lying, because it just didn't sound like her at all. Like, there's not much that I could even tell you about my mom. Everything she liked to do, the music she liked to listen to, the food she liked to eat, everything about her just got overshadowed and overpowered by my dad. Everything. So, it just made no sense. Why am I writing my mom's life? It was to the point where my brother even was like, I don't know why he thought this was a great idea. He was just like, oh, you should call and ask people. You should call and ask people. They can help you with the obituary. You know all this stuff. Why don't you write it? He could have wrote it. I would have edited the shit. I don't want to write the whole thing. Anyway, I ended up doing that. And he made the slideshow. And we picked out photos for the slideshow and all that stuff. So, what did my dad do? It seemed like all he did was pay for it. I don't know. I just feel like, any self-respecting father, when he loses his wife, he wouldn't make his children organize her memorial. And then to later on go on to say he's more hurt than them. We've known her our entire lives. You met her when you were 30. She wasn't his entire life. She was our entire lives. Ugh. Anyway, my husband wasn't there at the memorial. After that, I quit my job. Because my manager was being ignorant, calling me out in the morning meetings after I came back from bereavement. Everybody knew, because my coworkers were coming up to me to ask me, was I okay? And they'd heard what happened. Everybody knew. So it's like, why are you at this morning meeting in front of everybody? Why are you asking me why I'm not like cheerful and faking like my mom didn't just fucking pass away while I'm pregnant with her first grandchild? Like, why are you doing that? So after like the second or third time he did that, I just fucking quit. I just stopped going to work. And then Thanksgiving came. My husband didn't invite me to Thanksgiving. None of his family invited me to Thanksgiving. I was just like, and I'm not gonna sit there and like ask to come over anymore. How many times during my whole pregnancy did I ask to come over and he said no, he has to do something, or no, he doesn't want me to come over, and all this stupid stuff. So I was like, no, I'm not gonna ask to go over there. You know I'm here alone. You know we're not having Thanksgiving. But in his mind, just texting me more than normal that day, and then coming by at 10 p.m. to give me and my dad a plate, and then leaving, is good enough. So then by December, I'm like wrecked. So I try to go back to therapy, and I wanted to do virtual because I didn't want to have to find a way to get to therapy every week, because it would have meant I would have to depend on my dad. So, but then I didn't want to do virtual because he was listening in. He would listen in on me. So I ended up deciding to go in person. And the first time my brother ended up taking me, it was only 5 minutes down the street. Like, that was my brother's first time going. We followed Google Maps. He found it, dropped me off. I had my first appointment, whatever. And then when it was time to go to my next appointment, unfortunately, I trusted my dad to be able to take me. No, it was that first appointment, because my brother took me and my dad was supposed to pick me up. Again, it was 5 minutes down the road. I gave him the Google Maps address. I get done with my therapy. I call him to tell him I'm done. 40 minutes passes by, then I'm just sitting in the waiting room. So then he calls, and I'm thinking he's gonna say I'm outside. He's calling to ask, where am I? I'm not outside. And it was raining and cold this day. So, yeah, I went outside. I didn't see him. He wasn't in the right plaza. He wasn't following Google Maps. Ugh. So then I'm on the phone with him, just going back and forth. I ended up walking like a football field's length all the way down the road from the plaza I was in, all the way down the road. So I could stand in the rain, in the cold, pregnant. Just had a therapy session. Just so he could see where I was. He came out of the plaza next door and I saw the car coming up the road. I'm just like, how is this fucking possible? Mind you, this place was by my old high school that he went to 1 billion times for both of us. Right behind Kroger, across the street from our high school. Five minutes down the road. But he still couldn't get there. Then he sees me, he pulls up. I get in the car. And he starts blaming me for why he can't follow Google Maps. At this point, I stopped talking to him in the car eventually. And then he took the liberty to tell me my lips were chapped and laugh. I literally left my mind left my body after he said that. So, that same week, my husband was acting strange. He had a full-on outburst, like we was on FaceTime, video call. And he was in the car driving his brother to work. And then we was arguing back and forth, and he just exploded and started screaming, and he started crying. And he was like, just leave me alone, all this other stuff. And then it was so bad, his brother just told me to hang up. So I hung up. And, yeah, I was worried because I'm like, I've never seen him act like that. And he was driving. Anyway. I called him later after that, maybe like 30 minutes after that. And he was pretending that nothing happened, that didn't just happen, he's perfectly fine. I don't know. Then the 2 weeks before he got arrested, he started like suddenly wanting to see me. So he came and saw me a week before, and we just sat in the car and talked, and that's when he set up his lie that he used the next week when he hid his gun in my closet. The lie that his brother is coming over, and the week leading up to that, he was like, oh, my brother's coming to visit, and the older brother, the one who I was like, was this you sending these messages? He had moved out. So he was like, he's coming to visit, and I'm like, I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to put my weed at so he don't steal it. So that's all he said about that. I didn't think twice about it. I was just like, I'm just thinking he's just making conversation. Then the next week, the day he got arrested, well, the night before, he was like, he suddenly wanted to take maternity photos with me. Mind you, this is December. And I have been asking for ages. I was just like, I kind of don't even want to do that anymore. It's like pointless. And then I was like, are you still going to come over though? He was like, yeah. Which was not, I guess the girl left him. But it didn't make sense because, I don't know. I don't know what happened. So, he came over that afternoon. He just came in my room, laid down, and was just like staring. Just silent again. And you know, I'm being fake as fuck. I'm trying to act normal because I'm like, oh, he finally wants to spend time with me. Let me not fuck it up. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say nothing. I tried to get him to do the baby book with me. He didn't want to do it. He just closed his eyes. He ended up plucking my chin hairs like he always used to do when we first got together. And I'm just thinking, I don't know what's going on here. Then I noticed when he finally picked up his phone again because he was going to leave, he looked at his phone, his hand started shaking. I never seen nothing like that. So then he called his mom, or she called him. I don't know. We talked with her, and then I was like, what are you going to do? He had a gift card from work that he hadn't used yet. He was like, I'm probably just going to go up to work, use that gift card, and I'll bring you some food later. I was just like, okay. So he left. I ended up taking a nap, as I'm 8 months pregnant at this point. I woke up to him calling me at like 9:43. And it's the second time he's calling me. So I answered the phone. He's outside. And, you know, when I'm waking out of my sleep, I answer the door. He just walked straight past me in the house, up the stairs and around, down the hall to my room without me. Anyway, this is weird of him because he's only been in my room now at that point 3 or 4 times during our entire relationship. Like, he was never in the house enough to just walk past me, right? So I thought that was weird, but I just followed him back there. And he's just standing there and has a bag in his hand. The crossbody bag that he bought for us to go to Michigan. And he was just like, where can I put this? He said, it's my brother's weed. I'm just trying to hide it. I was like, up there, I guess. I told him to put it on the closet shelf, and he took one of my hangers, an empty hanger, and hung the bag on the hanger and tucked it. Like, I didn't have closet doors on my closet. So it was just an open closet with like the wall kind of covering the rest of the closet. He tucked it in there behind the wall. And then he was just like, I love you, I'm sorry. Then he gave me a kiss on the forehead, then he left. Mind you, I'm so fucking tired and thrown off, I'm not thinking in my head, wait, isn't he supposed to have food? He's supposed to be bringing me food. And then I didn't think to myself, sorry. He's sorry for what? I thought he's sorry for waking me up because he knew I had been asleep just then. Nope. Then he leaves. I mind my own business for the rest of the night, go to sleep. I wake up one something. I get a phone call from him, but I miss it because I'm in the kitchen. So I got my phone. And I tried to call him back, and then I texted him. I was like, sorry, I was in the kitchen. Then his sister calls me and tells me he's in jail. For an altercation involving a gangster. So obviously, that's when, I get told not to look in the bag. Don't tell me what the fuck to do. I go to my closet. I look in the bag. There's his gun, his bullets, and in the zipper pocket is a collage picture of him and the girl. That's great. Wrap this up. Yeah, that's how I found out he was cheating. At the same time that I found out that he hid a weapon in my closet. It was just perfect. That was exactly what I needed. Wow. He's in jail. And he shot somebody. I give birth in a month. He's not going to be there. I'm going to be a single mom. Then when him and his sister and his mom came to get that bag, I held that picture up in front of his sister and I said, what is this? And she pretended she didn't know anything about it. Fucking bitch. While I'm crying, screaming. Then they sat in the car that day telling me, oh, he's never done this before. Like, he's never cheated. And he loves you and he wants to be a family with you. And we think he was asking us like what he should do about like not wanting to have sex while you're pregnant and all that. Just making excuse after excuse for him. And I'm too emotional to not believe it, right? I guess he was the first person he called and he got locked up. That bitch. Yeah. But she didn't answer him. I didn't get a phone call from the fucking jail until, like, 7:30 p.m. I answered and I was in too much shock. I just saw you yesterday. This is the worst type of person to deal with. This aspect of him is the worst thing I've ever had to deal with. Like, someone who has abandonment issues, and you're the type of person who can disappear and get locked up overnight. And I knew this was coming because when was it? It was in November. He called me and he was trying to pretend he was in the back of a cop car getting arrested. But he was really in the car with his mom. And he had just gone to court for a speeding ticket, which was so unlike him, a speeding ticket. So I knew in my gut that he was going to get locked up before Delaney got here. I knew it. I just said, don't play about that. And then during this conversation, he said, I hope I don't have to work when you go into labor. Me and his mom was like, you leave work. Why would you? He wasn't planning to be there regardless. So, anyway. Yeah, when he eventually found out that I told the police exactly what happened, he called me a bitch and hung up on me. Then he called me back all apologetic. Yeah, that was the day after the detectives left, and I was as soon as he called me, I was going off on him. I'm like, you blah blah blah, bringing police into my house while I'm going through all this bullshit. My mom just all this other stuff, and so yeah. Then later, sometime after that, is when he started pressuring me to move in with his family. Oh my God. I swear it was just to try and make me be quiet and stop saying anything else. Or so his family could watch me. So they didn't have to go to jail for hiding a weapon. I don't know what they did with his gun. They got rid of it. They threw it away. Something. He did something to it where the police could not find it. So if you can't find the weapon, there's nothing, it's not like you're not going to get that charge on you too. Like, you can't, I don't know. Anyway, so. But then, stuff with my dad started. The thing where he can't get 5 minutes down the road. Oh my God. Yeah, so my husband was in jail from December 13th to August 30th? 20 something, like the last week of August, this past August. So, his mom was there during the C-section. That was it. That was kind of traumatizing in its own right because I wasn't thinking I was going to have a C-section. But when they got me hooked up to the monitors, and it's like, how is that possible? Because you see us, it's on the screen. They told me there's twins in there. And like I said in my other video, I had just been to this hospital a month prior, after my husband's bullshit and all this life stress led to me having preterm stress-induced labor.